It's Crypto Corner here on Schwab Network. I'm Jenny Horne. We've talked Bitcoin, we've talked Ethereum, Coinbase, strategy, Genius Act, all of it. But it's time to get to some overlooked crypto products. Joining us now is Adam Lynch, Director at Schwab Equity Research. Adam, the people have spoken. We've gotten several YouTube comments about Solana and XRP. Really, what are they and how are they different than, say, Bitcoin?
Yeah, first off, it does not surprise me at all, Jenny, that we've seen some questions about these two, particularly given their recent performance. Over the past month, Solana's up about 40%, while XRP or Ripple is up about 60. So it's been quite a wild ride over the past month or so. Both of them are similar, right, to Bitcoin or Ether. They are both blockchains offering their own native cryptocurrency, but they aim to kind of provide a platform which is used to launch decentralized applications. So they're a little bit different than your typical kind of blockchain. Like most of the alternative ones that were created, Sol and XRP were essentially built to try and improve upon Bitcoin and make it more faster, cheaper, and more scalable. In terms of size, these are two of the biggest ones. So ignoring stable coins like USDT, Sol's the fourth largest in terms of market cap, somewhere in the 110 billion range. XRP is about twice as large, 200 or so, and is the third largest cryptocurrency behind Ether, which just for context is 400 billion, and Bitcoin, which is way up there at 2 trillion. So they are next in line in terms of size. Now let's take a little bit of a deep dive into each of them. I'll first kind of start off with Solana. Solana was originally built back in 2017 to, in part, again, facilitate that creation of these DApps, or decentralized applications. All these are software apps that run on the blockchain instead of a centralized server, meaning that no centralized entity has control of them. Some of the popular ones that have already been created on Sol include DeFi or decentralized finance apps. Those can be things like Jupiter or Orca, which are decentralized exchanges. And then they're also used for some of these non-fungible tokens or NFTs. And some of the NFTs and NFT related projects they've created are an exchange that's called Magic Eden. And then they've got all sorts of different projects like Bodagos and others like that. And in order to do all of this, right, create the speed, the scalability, what they essentially did from a technology standpoint was develop a proof of history consensus, which is a little bit different than the proof of stake that most blockchains use. What they do is basically combine their recently created proof of history with this proof of stake consensus. And that speed and scalability of the hybrid model gives them the ability to do all of this. And that's causing them to basically draw attention from anybody that wants this stuff, from small-time meme coin traders to larger institutions like Fiserv, which recently launched their own stablecoin on Solana.
Okay, and what else about XRP? We mentioned that, of course, but let's dive a little bit deeper, further into XRP.
Yeah, so XRP, often referred to as Ripple as well, was launched back in 2012, making it a little bit older than Solana. It is, just like Solana, open source, permissionless, and decentralized technology built to have the same sort of advantages like low cost, speed, and scalability. Their technology is a little bit different, and what they did was create a ledger, which was the first decentralized exchange, and custom capabilities which were built into the protocol. So it's a little bit different. Alongside their native coin, which is XRP, the ledger is basically used mostly by developers to create solutions for inefficiencies like remittance or tokenization. So tokenization is going to be a more popular subject going forward. Their top 5 use cases essentially are for payments, tokenization, DeFi applications, your CBDCs or your central bank created coins, and then stable coins. XRP, if you can't tell, is very focused on the financial markets. And it's often noted for being very friendly to developers, giving them the ability to code and all sorts of things. They've got great tutorials, a lot of help, which other chains may not offer. You're likely already familiar with Ripple, maybe because of the fact that it's been in the news. It went up against the SEC over the last couple of years in a case where the SEC was arguing that XRP was a security. They argued that it was not. The case was dropped back in April, which caused the coin to surge 13% on that day. And over the last couple of months or so, the regulatory clarity that we've received has just helped boost that one quite a bit. And to kind of quickly summarize, compare and contrast the two, in terms of usage, so you got Solana, fast, low cost, and essentially built for DApps. Some of them can be DeFi, but NFTs, gaming, those sort of things tend to exist there. XRP, fast, low cost, just like Solana, but generally used more for cross-border payments, banks, financial institutions, very finance focused. In terms of speed, XRP is fast, can process up to 1,500 transactions per second, but Sol is faster, it gets up to about 65,000 transactions per second. Decentralization is actually a topic that these two get pinged on a little bit because of the fact that there is a lot of insider ownership of their native currency. So XRP has about 60% insider ownership. Sol is estimated to be somewhere around 80 or 85%. So from a decentralized standpoint, Solana is a little bit more decentralized than XRP, but again, that's not necessarily their biggest strength. And then in terms of market adaptation, there's been a lot of people that have been looking for products. You've got Solana, which has really gained a lot of traction within that Web3 space. So DeFi, NFTs, blockchain games, those sort of things. I mentioned the meme coins. So they've been really a big player in that. If you've ever heard of other altcoins like Bonk or Whiff, which is dog whiff hat, all sorts of very unique and creative names in that space. XRP, on the other hand, from a market adoption standpoint, has really seen strong institutional support, particularly from banking and financial services firms. And then to just kind of wrap it up, I mean, the floodgates are open, right? Cryptocurrencies like Sol and XRP do offer some slightly different use cases than BTC, given the chain's speed and scalability. We've already seen a lot of financial products created on these two. So we've had ETFs launch that look at both Sol and XRP. In addition to the ETFs, the CME or Chicago Mercantile Exchange just launched XRP and Sol futures, which give investors the opportunity to speculate a little bit more on the short-term price change, as well as do some hedging. And these cryptocurrencies and all of these products have so much momentum behind them, it's hard to have any idea when it'll slow down.
Okay, and I wanted to touch more on something you mentioned, that's tokenization, a big headline Wednesday morning from Goldman Sachs and Bank of New York Mellon partnering to support this tokenization of assets. Tell us a bit more on that.
Yeah, so we have two financial giants who today have essentially announced that they're going to try and transform the money market industry, which is $7 trillion, with digital tokens. Essentially, what they have done is created the ability for institutional investors to purchase tokenized money market funds. Soon, the clients of BNY, which is in fact the world's largest custody bank, will be able to invest in these funds, and the money market fund's ownership will be recorded on Goldman's blockchain platform. While somewhat similar to stablecoins here, the tokenized money market funds are able to offer benefits like paying owners a yield, which makes it a very attractive spot for hedge funds, corporations to park their cash. The rationale here is that it allows for faster settlement, round-the-clock trading, and automation. And the two firms really do see this as setting the foundation for a financial future in which assets, all of them, are traded in a more efficient, always-on digital ecosystem.
Okay, yeah, and I think so many good points there and such a good breakdown of some of these perhaps maybe underlooked aspects of right now the entire crypto world. So we appreciate it, as always, Adam Lynch. That'll do it for Crypto Corner. Be sure to subscribe to Schwab Network's YouTube channel for more. I'm Jenny Horne. Thanks for watching.